You don't come. Welcome, oh. I beg, before we go begin this story, we go scatter your head. Make you do it in. Subscribe, sharp, sharp. Like the video, drop your sweet, sweet comments. No, they form. Now, beg, they beg, oh. Okay, now, sitting well.
Arita was a small village surrounded by red soil and tall palm trees. The sun always shone brightly, and the goats ran freely across the dusty paths. But behind the calm look of Arita, whispers filled the air. Everyone knew Bimbo, the plump, round woman with cheeks like breadfruit and arms as thick as yam tubers. Her big wrapper strained around her body whenever she walked. Bimbo was known for two things: her loud voice and her wicked heart. Ever since she married Babatunde, a widower with one daughter, she made life bitter for the poor girl, Sade. Bimbo always ate the biggest portion of food, leaving Sade with scraps. She wore the finest clothes, while Sade wore torn ones. Still, Babatunde never suspected anything. Sade was only 14, thin like a broomstick, with big, sad eyes. She cooked, cleaned, fetched water, and sold oranges in the market, while Bimbo sat under the mango tree, fanning herself and eating roasted corn. At night, Sade often cried quietly into her mat. She missed her mother, who died when she was just a baby. Sometimes she prayed to God to send her mother back, or take her away from Bimbo's wickedness. But the sky only blinked with stars and stayed silent. One evening, a rich man came from the city. He wanted a wife for his son. When he saw Sade carrying water on her head, he admired her beauty and calmness. But Bimbo's heart boiled like hot pepper soup. How could anyone admire this girl she had tried to keep small and useless? The thought made her chew her roasted plantain angrily. She decided Sade would not live to marry anybody. She would end this once and for all. Bimbo waited until Babatunde travelled to a neighbouring town to sell goats. She smiled sweetly at Sade that evening, telling her to rest inside the small hut near the farm. Sade was surprised at Bimbo's kindness, but her tired legs welcomed the chance to sleep. As soon as Sade lay down, Bimbo fetched dry wood and kerosene. Her fat hands shook with excitement as she poured the kerosene around the hut. She struck a match. The fire caught quickly, licking the walls with red and yellow tongues. But something strange happened. The fire roared and danced, but it did not touch Sade. She woke up in fear, yet the flames parted around her like water around a stone. Her wrapper did not even smell of smoke. Bimbo's fat body shook in confusion. Why was the girl not burning? Why was the fire refusing her? The villagers, hearing the noise, began to run toward the farm. Suddenly, the fire turned. Like a living thing, it left the hut and began to crawl toward Bimbo. She screamed, her round body wobbling as she ran. The fire chased her through the farm, across the footpath, past the mango tree where she used to sit and eat. "Fire is chasing Bimbo!" the villagers shouted as they watched the strange scene. Some children even laughed, though their mothers pulled them back in fear. Bimbo ran faster than she had ever run in her life. Her big legs pounded the ground. Her heavy wrapper almost fell off as she ran past the market square, where women were selling pepper and tomatoes. But the fire followed, jumping from roof to roof, tree to tree, like it had eyes only for her. People screamed and ran out of its way. Bimbo shouted for help, but no one could stop the angry flames. Desperate, Bimbo ran toward the shrine of Ogun, the god of iron. The priest, a tall man with white chalk on his face, came out when he heard the noise. "Mother of Fire, what have you done?" he shouted as the flames crackled like laughter. Bimbo fell on her knees, her big body shaking, begging for help. But the priest only shook his head. "Fire does not chase the innocent," he said. While everyone ran after the fire and Bimbo, Sade quietly left the burning hut. Some women hugged her, surprised she was alive. Her hair was not even singed. They began to whisper that perhaps the gods had protected her from Bimbo's wickedness. Sade only stood silently, watching the orange sky where Bimbo ran like a fat goat with fire behind it. That night the fire chased Bimbo across the hills, through streams, and into the forest. People said they heard her screams until midnight. Some claimed they saw a bright red light deep in the forest, then silence. By morning, only ashes remained near the old Iroko tree. Bimbo was never seen again in Arita. Some said the fire carried her spirit away. Others said the earth swallowed her whole. But everyone agreed on one thing. The fire had eaten Bimbo. The sun rose over Arita like a small red ball. Smoke still hung in the air from the burnt hut. People moved slowly and talked in low voices. Some said Bimbo was gone forever. Some said the fire carried her away into the forest. But others were not sure. They felt fear in their stomachs. The ground near the farm still felt warm. A small boy named Dapo ran to the square shouting, "Come and see!" He led the men to the edge of the forest. There in the soft soil were deep footprints, wide, round, and heavy. They were the footprints of a very plump woman. The men looked at one another. "Bimbo is not dead," Babasola said. "She walked into the forest in the night. By afternoon, Babatunde came back from the next town with his goats. He met the village in panic. He saw the burnt hut, and his heart jumped. When he found Sade safe, he held her tight and wept. "What happened?" he asked. The women looked down. At last, Iarisi said, "Your wife tried to burn Sade, but the fire refused her and chased your wife into the forest." That night, Sade slept in Mama Kimmy's house. She had a dream. In the dream, a small flame floated in front of her and spoke like a child. "I did not burn you," the flame said. "Your mother's tears covered you like water, but the woman who hates you is not free. The fire still seeks her." Sade woke up with a start and touched her wrapper. It was cool. As the moon rose, a red ember rolled into the market square. It glowed and hummed. A goat ran near it and bleated in fear. The ember jumped like a cricket and shot across the sand, leaving a black line. People hid inside their rooms. "This fire is alive," Mama Kemi whispered. Deep in the forest, an old woman called Iya Agba lived in a small mud house. In the dark, Bimbo stumbled to her door. Bimbo's wrapper was torn, and her face was streaked with ash. She was very plump and round, and her breath came hard. "Mama, help me," she cried. "Fire is chasing me." Iya Agba looked at her for a long time and nodded slowly. Iya Agba washed Bimbo's feet in cool water and rubbed her skin with palm oil. "Tell me the truth," she said. "Why is fire angry with you?" Bimbo lowered her head. "I was jealous of Sade," she said. A man from the city looked at her with respect. "I wanted all the good things for my own daughter, Titi. I went to a man who gave me a charm. He said it would make me strong in the house if I harmed Sade. I poured kerosene on the hut." Iya Agba sighed. "Bad fire answers bad heart," she said. "In Arita, the elders met under the big mango tree. Babasola spoke first. 'This fire will not leave us until the truth is open,' he said. They agreed to call the priest at the shrine again. 'We need a path of peace,' the priest said. 'Only a full confession at the shrine can calm the fire. The woman must speak, the girl must forgive. The husband must stand with truth.' Bimbo could not sleep. Hunger pulled her like a rope. In the middle of the night, she crept toward the village to look for food. Her heavy steps sank into the soft soil. She moved behind houses, breathing hard. Sade, awake from her dream, went out to fetch water and saw a shadow. The shadow was big and round. "Bimbo," she whispered. The shadow ran. The next evening, Sade carried bread and water to the edge of the forest. She left them near a small palm tree and waited. Bimbo came out slowly. Her eyes were red. "Why bring food to me?" she asked. Sade looked at the ground. "I'm not your enemy. I only want peace." Bimbo took the bread with shaking hands and cried. A wind rose from the east. Sparks flew across the sky like tiny birds. The ember in the square grew into a low flame. The flame moved along the ground and licked the walls of empty huts. But it did not burn them. It was searching. People shut their doors. Children hid under mats. Sade went to Baba Sola. "The fire is looking for Bimbo," she said. "Maybe the river can hold it." Baba Sola nodded. "Water is older than fire," he said. "If Bimbo comes to the river and speaks truth, the river can cool the flame." He asked 3 men, Kunle, Ao, and Dapo, to watch the path to the river called Odo. Back in the forest, Iya Akbar mixed red clay from the termite hill with shea butter and palm oil. She rubbed it on Bimbo's arms. "This clay is a cover," she said. "It will not stop the fire, but it will slow it until you speak the truth." Bimbo felt a small peace enter her heart. Babatunde sat on a low stool, holding his head. He thought of all the days he trusted Bimbo. He thought of Sade's small hands washing plates. "I failed my daughter," he said to Mama Kemi. "I did not see the hurt." Mama Kemi placed a hand on his shoulder. "Now you see," she said. "Stand with truth and save your house." At midnight, the priest walked through the village and beat a small drum. "Come to the square in the morning," he called. "Let the woman come. Let the girl come. Let the man come. Let the fire hear the truth." The drumbeat rolled like thunder over Arita. Morning came. Bimbo stepped out of the forest path. She walked slowly, her big body heavy, her feet sore. People drew back when they saw her. Sade and Babatunde met her in the square. The ember sat near the old mortar, glowing like an eye. The priest raised his hand. "Speak," he said. Bimbo swallowed. "I was angry," she said. "I poured kerosene, but I only wanted to scare the girl." The ember flared. A small flame rose and hissed. The crowd stepped back. "You have not said all," the priest warned. "Fire hates a lie." Sade walked to Bimbo and held out a small cloth. "This was my mother's head tie," she said. "I forgive you for the pain you gave me." The flame sank a little like it was thinking. A soft wind blew over the square. People began to hope. Bimbo fell to her knees. "I was jealous," she cried. "I wanted all the good things for my own daughter, Titi. I went for a charm. The man told me to harm Sade, so my place in the house would be strong. I set the hut on fire to kill her. The flame shot up, then stopped, as if it had heard what it needed." The priest nodded sadly. "Truth is heavy," he said. "But truth opens the door." The priest pointed toward River Odo. "Let us go," he said. "If the river accepts this truth, the fire will calm." The whole village walked. Bimbo walked in front with Sade and Babatunde. The ember rolled after them like a red bead. At the bank, the water moved slow and wide. Bimbo faced the water. "River, I did wrong," she said. "I harmed a child. I broke a home. I used a bad charm." She took the head tie from Sade and placed it on the water. The cloth floated, then sank a little, then settled. The river made a soft sound like a sigh. The ember rolled to the edge and touched the water. A small hiss rose up. Steam curled in the air. Babatunde, Sade, Bimbo, and Iya Akbar set out at dawn. They walked slowly along the red road. Bimbo's steps were heavy, but she kept moving. They found the man in a small hut by a cassava farm. His name was Ade. He had quick eyes and thin lips. "I can break the charm," Ade said, "but only if the woman pays with service, not money. She must cook for the sick in Arita for 7 nights, and must not taste the food. If she tastes even a little, the ember will grow into fire again." Back in Arita, Bimbo cooked pepper soup, yam porridge, and okra for the sick and weak. The smell rose into the air and made her stomach cry. On the 3rd night, she almost licked the spoon. Sade touched her hand. "Hold on," she said. Bimbo closed her eyes and prayed. She did not taste the food. On the 7th night, the ember rolled to the doorway of the sick house. It waited there like a guard. Bimbo carried the last pot inside. She served old men and women. She did not taste even one drop. The ember shook and turned darker, like a piece of coal. Sade led Bimbo and Babatunde to the small grave of Sade's mother, behind the mango tree. Bimbo placed flowers there. I wronged your house, she said. I will not harm it again. The wind moved through the leaves as if it agreed. Word reached Titi, Bimbo's daughter, in a far village. She came to Arita with a small bag. When she heard all that had happened, she cried. Mama, why? Bimbo held her and wept. Greed blinded me, she said. I will be a better mother. I will be a better wife. On the 40th day, Bimbo finished her service. She had carried water, swept compounds, cooked for the sick, and clothed poor children. The priest blessed the house of Babatunde. Let peace stay here, he said. Let love guard this door. Babatunde called a family meeting. In this home we will eat together, he said. No one will take the biggest share. We will share work, we will share joy. Bimbo nodded. I agree, she said. Sade smiled a little. Titi took Sade's hand. Sister, she said, let us start again. At a market, people watched Bimbo carefully. Some still feared her. Some still remembered her loud voice. Bimbo greeted them with calm words. She helped Iarisi carry pepper baskets. She paid a debt she owed to Mama Kemi. Little by little, faces softened. Late that evening, a small spark appeared near the old hut site. It flickered like a last breath. Bimbo stood there alone. You followed me because I did wrong, she said. I have spoken truth, I have paid back. Go now. The spark twitched, then went dark. The elders called for a small festival. There was drumming and dance in the square. Children jumped, men clapped hands. Bimbo did not dance. She sat and watched with quiet eyes. Sade brought her roasted corn. Eat, Sade said. Bimbo smiled and took a bite. That night, Bimbo sat with Babatunde under the mango tree. Thank you for standing with truth, she said. Babatunde nodded. We nearly lost everything, he said. Let us keep our home with love. Bimbo looked at the stars and made a promise in her heart. In the morning, the children of Arita gathered around Sade. Tell us the story, they said. Tell us about the fire. Sade told it in simple words. Fire eats lies, she said, but it cannot eat a clean heart. Do not be jealous, do not harm the weak. Speak the truth, make things right when you fail. The children listened, eyes wide.